Black don't crack. That's what they say, right? That's what they say when they talk about melanated skin. It doesn't matter where you're from, we love to take care of our skin. And, as a matter of fact, it's not only black people who take care of their skin, but everybody wants to take care of their skin. The beauty business is major business. And did you know that the shea butter used in the majority of cosmetics across the world are coming from Ghana, right here in this country? The shea butter comes from the shea tree, which grows in the north part of Ghana. And I have a man here who has been the person who actually introduced shea butter to the consumer market in the US back in the 80s. So he is not new to this game when it comes to shea butter and other beauty products coming from Ghana and other parts of West Africa. So I'm really excited to have him here today. His brand is called Krismark, and although he's from Ghana, he's based in the US, but he does come back and forth between US and Ghana. And he's a great diaspora story about someone who is from here, but who has made a successful career in the US. So we're going to talk to Isaac Kusi today. Mr. Kusi, thank you so much for being here, and welcome back home to Ghana.
Thanks for having me, Ivy.
Yeah, so you are one of the pioneers when it comes to introducing shea butter and shea butter products in the US.
Yes.
We know that for those who are in the African communities, most of us already knew about shea butter, because I know for me growing up in Canada anyway, and we did know some people in the US too, we had shea butter in the home, and it would be like the old block that you got from the African shops, or someone who went to Ghana brought it home, and you always had this, like we always had these chunks at home. It wasn't like packaged or anything, just chunks of shea butter. My mom would take empty containers and then she would just like shove it in, or she might melt it and then pour it in. And that was it. It wasn't a brand or a company or anything. But you ended up venturing into the business officially.
Yes.
Introducing it to the consumer market. Why did you decide to do that back then? It wasn't a trend. Nobody really knew about it.
Yes. When I was here back in the 70s, we used to apply shea butter to our hair when I had an afro. And I saw the difference it made. So when I got, and we used to eat it too, cook with it.
Yeah, people cook with it. Yeah,
Yes,
I only learned about people cooking with it a few years ago, like maybe like 6-7 years ago.
When we talk about tinkafa and wache, that is the basic oil that was used at that time. I know that wache has changed, formulation these days. But when I went to the United States, I saw the products that were being used, and I saw there was no shea butter in it. So I started talking about it, met a friend that was also in the cosmetic industry, and introduced it to him. But then in 1988, Dr. Asante, who was a Ghanaian living in Germany, formulated the first shea butter product, called Shea. So I signed a contract with him to introduce it to the market in the United States.
Okay, and this is the Shea one that you're talking about.
Yes.
Does he still make it? Does he still manufacture and sell this in the U.S. or?
No, it's not being done, but I'm going to do that.
Okay.
It was mostly done in Germany and Europe.
Okay, so then you brought it to the U.S.
Yes, in the 80s and 90s. And then we broke off contract, and I came up with my own line.
Okay.
Krismark.
So I see that you have like these papers here. This is a story about you, a spotlight on you.
Yes.
With the brand. This is from when?
I think 2007, around that time.
Yeah. So you've been doing it for a few years, because you actually launched your brand in what year?
1994.
94. Okay. So 94, you launched it, and how was the response? I'm just looking at these old papers here. It's really good to keep a record.
Yes.
Of what you've done. I mean, this is from, you tell us about this.
Yeah, this is New York, Amsterdam news. This is the oldest black newspaper published in New York City. And this is the year 1989, when I had an interview, introducing Shea at the time. It was mostly sold in the beauty shops.
Okay.
Because we started with the hair product, shampoos and conditioners.
Okay.
Okay, so I sold it mostly in the beauty shops and then small chains and pharmacies.
Okay. Do you remember which beauty shops?
I
It was a long time ago.
No, I still remember them because we're talking about New York City.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Manhattan. When you talk about Manhattan, I sold to the top hair salons, black salons, yes.
Okay.
Yes, like Joseph's, where most of the celebrities used to go, and they still go to that shop.
That's cool.
Yes, so I sold, and then all over the city in the black salons, and I ventured eventually to the top niche pharmacies, mostly white-owned, rich areas too.
Good for you. Good for you. I know that shea butter is something that people use in their hair. When I go to the salon with natural hair, they like to use the shea butter here too. So, and it's something that a lot of people say they use. So I'm not surprised when you say that you used it in your afro, when you had an afro.
When I had hair, some hair.
So talk about your products now, like, because you don't have hair products that are here now. These are skin products that you are working on. I want to hear about the journey with how people started to, if people accepted it, or if there was resistance or anything. Because I know the hair, you've talked about going to the hair salons with the shea butter hair products. What made you shift from the hair to the skin?
One of the benefits of shea butter is medicinal purposes. You know, in the olden days, if you have a boil on your skin, they apply shea butter to it and then it heals it. So I knew it was a healing ingredient, and I delved into suggested making it into lotions and creams, you know, for easy application to the skin. And I know it was mostly applied in the northern region in Ghana, where the skin is dry. And even in the southern part, in the Hamatan, it's used mostly for dry, chapped skin.
What about, I know I've heard people say that they feel like it's too thick and too heavy when it gets to like summer. Like, I'm speaking from the North American mind, because I've heard some people say this. Because when we have those big chunks and stuff, people have said it's kind of thick. They don't want to use that when it's not winter. They only use it when it's like cold and they're getting the dry, cracked skin. What did you do to combat that need that customers may say they want something that's not so thick?
That's why we did the lotion, body lotion. It's basically water and oil.
A lot of water?
A lot of water.
Okay.
You know, that's what lotions are.
Okay.
Are formulated. That's how it's formulated. It starts with water and then addition of oils. You know, so you start with water and the water phase and add some shea butter oil to it.
Now, a lot of cosmetic companies are now using shea in their products. What makes yours different from what others are doing?
Well, I know the major companies use shea butter, but they use a small percentage in their formulation because they have to add, they're looking at profitability. So they add other ingredients and other oils to it, you know, but they splash shea butter on it and it make it look like it's shea butter. But I have a very high percentage of shea butter. And also, I have added red palm oil to it.
You've added red palm oil to it?
Red palm oil, you know.
And what does that do?
The red palm oil is the richest oil on earth.
Really?
Yes. The red color alone is beta carotene. And there's a portion of the red palm oil that's called tocotrienols, which is a higher form of vitamin E.
Okay.
So addition of shea butter and red palm oil makes my product unique.
And what about people? Because we have a lot of, and I'm saying this because there's a lot of the American market, specifically, who talk a lot about things that people are, protesting about. So I've heard people talk about palm oil and saying that, some people are saying they want to boycott palm oil. I don't know if you've heard those stories about boycotting palm oils because they don't like how it's farmed and that type of thing. How do you guarantee the way that your palm oil is being sourced and make people feel comfortable?
Well,
Those who have issues with it.
To be frank, I think that issue is mostly political because palm oil was cutting into other markets, oil markets. So they came up with something. They said at first they started with palm oil has cholesterol, but they did not say that there are two types of cholesterol, the good and the bad. And palm oil has the good cholesterol, which removes the bad cholesterol from the body.
I see.
But they didn't say that. They said palm oil has cholesterol. So we saw all the major condiment manufacturers, everybody stopped using palm oil because it was cutting into other oils.
Okay.
So that's when I started, going back. I said, look, but this is what our grandparents have been eating for ages, and they lived much longer. So I started going back to do a little bit of research, and I found out about the qualities of red palm oil. And by the time the American market realized how good palm oil was, the harm had been done. So they switched on to orangutans. They said, oh, the people in Indonesia and Malaysia are killing orangutans, so we should boycott palm oil. But now there is a roundtable for sustainable palm oil, so that's where I source my products from.
And so all of your products now have the palm oil in it?
Most of them.
Okay.
Most of them, the lotions and creams have red palm oil for their added benefits.
So are you concerned about other people trying to copy what you're doing?
I am happy that people are using palm oil and shea butter, because the more people use it, the more jobs it creates for the folks, the women that toil to pick up the nuts and bring it to the market. So the more people use it, the better it is.
I've seen some local brands here in Ghana that use palm oil in some of their Shea products. But a lot of those brands are very local and not necessarily international. Because getting products out of the country sometimes is, people have a small business, in Ghana there's a lot of small businesses here. People are selling in the markets, on the roadsides, in little shops, but they've not scaled up to be selling out of the country. You're selling yours in the U.S. Anywhere else outside the U.S. or just in the U.S. for now?
In the U.S. for now. There was a pause, there was a break in the late 2000 when I took a break. But then I got back, and now I am on Walmart.com.
You're on Walmart?
Walmart.com, and they've given me Canada also.
Okay. So you're on Walmart's website in Canada and the U.S.?
Yes.
Okay. So people watching in Canada and the U.S., you can look up for his product on Walmart.
Yes.
Walmart's
and place
online.
an order, it will be shipped from Walmart, fulfilled by Walmart.
That's great. That's really great. What is it that makes you keep coming back to Ghana? I mean, you've left. When did you leave? First of all, before I ask that question, when did you leave Ghana?
Not long ago. I left about 1980.
1980
Yes.
is when you left Ghana.
Yes.
And do you have plans to return? Because there's so many people from the diaspora who are now making this decision to either visit, invest, or move to Ghana. Do you have any plans to return?
Yes, I've been making forays back and forth. A lot of people don't realize, but Ghana is peaceful, and what makes it even better is the food. In Ghana, you are lucky you eat organic food only, most if you want, you know. So that makes it unique, you know. We would like to, at this age, enjoy good food, you know, for the rest of our lives, you know. So
you're coming back for the food?
Well, it's part of it.
Okay.
Yes, because in the U.S. we are exposed to processed foods, and if it's not processed, it's genetically modified. You know, in Ghana, everything is organic.
Almost everything. There's
Almost
a lot
everything.
of importing happening now. There's a lot of stuff from abroad coming now.
Yeah, locally grown food.
Yeah, there's a lot of, but yes, there's a lot of locally grown food. Don't get me wrong. That's definitely a fact. The access to it is better. Like literally, like today on my way here, I stopped, got 2 coconuts that were like, I know these coconuts were picked from a tree right here, and they're fresh, you know. Whereas in Canada, a coconut doesn't grow there, so I know it was imported and it's been there for a long time. And
Yes.
yeah. So, and even I had fruits last night, and it's literally the lady brought what she got from the market, and it's, you know, fresh.
And also, we would like to impart what we've acquired and establish, you know, factories over here.
You want to establish factories?
Yes.
That's good to hear.
Yes, utilizing shea butter and also palm oil.
That's good. So that's your long-term vision, is to have
Yes,
factories here.
Yes.
And have you started looking at where you want to do them?
Yes.
Like where you want to have them located?
Yes. There's a project that's coming up in Pram Pram, which I'm going to be part of it. You know, it's land has been acquired, and I'll be part of the manufacturing hub.
That's good news.
Yes.
That's good. Do you plan on having multiple factories in the country, or are you going to have the one that is going to be in Pram Pram?
Yes, I have. It's going to be integrated. You know, we need plastic industry over here.
Why plastic?
Huh?
Why plastic? Because we're talking about how plastic, there's so much single-use plastic in Ghana. You've seen there's a lot of waste around. Our recycling systems here are not as advanced as they are in the US and Canada. I could easily, when garbage day comes, they pick up the plastic, they pick up the paper, they pick up compost, they pick up garbage. Here it's like everything is being put together, and then, you know, very few places will pick up the plastic separately. So why do you think we need to process plastic here?
Well, Ghana has an oil industry.
That they don't really benefit from.
We extract oil over here, and plastic is a byproduct of from the oil industry. So there's a need to integrate plastic industry with the oil industry. So we need to make plastic products, you know, bottles, packaging. There's a need for it, yes.
That's controversial.
Yes, but the reason why there is contamination of plastic is the attitude of the people. You know, because if you drink your pure water and you throw it in the gutter, you know, that's where the problem is. But if you dump it, somebody will collect it and recycle it. So it's the attitude of the people that needs to change. It's not the industry.
It's not the industry? You
No,
don't think so?
no. The attitude of the people need to change.
I agree that there needs to be a change in people's behaviors when it comes to the disposal of garbage and plastic. I agree with that 100%.
Yes.
However, I do think that we need to revisit, because the beauty industry contributes a lot to it as well, revisiting how we recycle plastics. So do you have a program with your products? Or no, because I mean, I don't know how big your brand is right now, but I know some of the big brands will have things like, so I used to buy MAC Cosmetics, and they had a program. I don't know if they still do, but they had a program where when you bring back your empty makeup container, they actually give you a discount because they recycle it for you. They recycle it into their system.
Everything is possible.
So just asking if it's something that you do.
Yeah, it's down the road. Yes, we might do it.
Okay, it's a good idea to do. Yeah. Is there anything that you want to talk about with the products, since the products are here? So if you want to talk about them.
Well, I know a lot of people are coming up with the Shea butter, but if you look at the big brands, and you have to read the ingredients carefully, and most of them have petrolatum in it, Vaseline. You know, I don't.
Okay.
You know.
So I wanted you to go through each of these.
Yes. This is the body lotion. In fact, the formulation is mostly the same, except it's varied. And this one has lavender, you know, essential oil of lavender. This one has bergamot and lilac.
And which one is this?
That's the cream.
Okay.
You know, but it's a little thicker than the lotion.
That's the body cream.
Yes, and then this is the face cream with hyaluronic acid.
I can never say that word. Hyaluronic acid.
Hyaluronic.
Hyaluronic acid.
Yes.
I see that in some of the beauty commercials. They'll be like, and it has hyaluronic acid.
Yes.
And they'll be like,
yes. Yeah, I don't do bleaching products. That's why it's not that popular.
Fantastic.
Yes.
You think that's why it's not that popular?
Yeah, if it was
don't
bleaching,
say that. No.
You know,
it's unfortunate that and this is an issue we have in countries like Ghana, not only Ghana, because you see it also in Nigeria. I know people who talk about it in Jamaica. You see it in India. Like you see it in places where people of color are, you know, this dynamic of wanting to have lighter skin because they're perceived as being more beautiful if their skin is lighter. Because we have lots of beauty products in Ghana that have skin bleach in it. And it's not supposed to be. It's actually banned.
Yes.
But they're still on the shelves.
Yes.
You know, there's like loopholes that they managed to find and still have them carried on the shelves. And it always shocks me how much is still out there.
Beautiful skin.
Thank you. Thank you. I have my own skin routine that I do too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And this is my this 100% shea butter.
Okay.
This is refined. You know, so if you can see.
Yeah, I can see.
You know.
I can see. It's white.
Yes, it's been refined. You know.
So what does it mean when you say refined? Because I've seen the shea butter growing up that I talked about. That in a lot of African homes living abroad, we have these big blocks of shea butter. It's usually yellow. Yes.
When many years ago, I used to order the raw shea butter, the crude.
Yes.
But then even in the calabash, but when it gets to the factory and you start manufacturing, you see all kinds of debris. I will see pepper. I will see millets. Yes.
You would see millet?
Yes.
And pepper?
So you have to strain the whole thing before you go into production.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's why I use the refined.
Okay.
And it's been refined because some part of rancidity has been removed from it.
Okay.
And the European Union has allowed 5% of that to be added to chocolates.
Okay.
So there's shea butter in some chocolate products, you know.
Oh.
Yes.
Interesting.
And this type is the same as what's used in the food industry.
This one?
Yes.
So it's that pure?
It's that pure, yes.
Wow. Okay. That's good. So what's your best-selling product?
This used to be the number one selling product
Mm-hmm.
because it used the black woman used to buy it in, you know, in a lot of it,
Okay.
for their hair.
So
and
what
scalp.
happened? You said it used to be.
Well, I came up with a lotion which is also taking.
It's taken over.
Yes,
Okay.
taking its
Because
share.
people probably like the smoothness of just putting a lotion on
Yes.
versus the thickness of the.
And also it goes into all markets.
Okay.
As you can see, it's translated into about 4 languages.
I gotta put my glasses on to see. You want me to read it? It's translated into 4 languages. I gotta put my glasses on for this.
It's in English, French, Portuguese, and Spanish.
Oh yeah, English, Spanish, Portuguese, French.
Yes.
And then you have not tested on animals. I'm reading that because some people will want to know. Not tested on animals, sourcing shea butter from women's cooperatives in northern Ghana. Save the African rainforest.
Yes.
What are you doing to save the African rainforest?
Well, we have to educate people about the destruction of the African rainforest, especially when you go up north. They are cutting down the shea trees, for firewood, and
That's not good.
Yeah, we need to educate the people about deforestation.
So have you been going into the community to talk to them about that, or you know of partners that
Yes,
you
I
work
know
with
of
doing it?
Eco Restore
Mhm.
up north that is doing seedlings, the shea seedlings, and also educating the people. So we will be going into partnership to support them in their efforts.
Great. So this business of yours, is this the only thing you're doing, or are you doing other things in the U.S.?
Well, this is what I'm doing now.
Okay.
I'm focused on that.
I was just curious if this is what you've been doing your whole life, or if you
I did
shifted from
that.
a different industry.
Yeah, I did that, and then I went into the transportation industry for a while.
Okay.
And then I retired.
You retired from transportation.
Yes.
How many years did you do that for?
About 10 years.
Only 10?
Yeah, 10, 11 years, yeah.
Okay. And did you, were you running your own transportation business,
No,
or
I
you're
worked
working for somebody?
with an airline.
Oh, with an airline. Okay.
But I'm not mentioning it because I'll be promoting somebody else.
No, you don't have to mention the airline.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Were you a pilot? Were you
No.
engineering?
I did customer service.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got to meet a lot of different people
Yes.
and learn a lot of different things, because you
Yes,
learn about
how
humanity
to
in
deal
customer
with
service.
people. Yes.
Yeah, customer service, you learn a lot about humanity. And you realize that no matter where people are from, we have a lot of similarities as people. Whether
Yes.
whether you're black, white, Indian, like Asian, like no matter where you're from. Because I know I worked in customer service. I worked in clothing stores. I worked in restaurants. I worked in shoe stores. And it's like the same kind of repeated behaviors happen with human beings, no matter what their background.
We are all the same.
Yeah, the same repeated behaviors, which was so interesting. The same complaints, you can hear the same line every single day. Be like, yeah, you're like,
Yes, people are the same wherever you go.
yeah. So what is your goal? What's your long-term goal?
My long-term goal is to utilize the free trade market in Africa, and also to see Africa united.
Yeah.
Because Africa, the African Free Trade Agreement is the largest trading bloc in the world. We need to kick down our artificial borders, so that if you sell this one, even if you sell sachet water, you can manufacture and then
Go to the next country.
take it all the way to South Africa.
Yeah.
Duty free.
Yeah, that is so valuable. We need it to happen more seamlessly. I know it's been what, 3 or 4 years since
Yes.
they signed the African
Free
African
trade.
Continental Free Trade Area.
Yes.
For those who don't know, the African Continental Free Trade Area actually has their secretariat office in Accra, and their whole mission is about having free trade between African countries. And so most of the countries have actually signed the agreement. But one of the challenges with it still is logistics is still a big challenge. You know, even driving things across borders, flying things across borders is still a challenge when it comes to the whole process of getting things from one country to another. Yeah.
And also to see Africa use one currency.
Yeah.
Because in the United States, you know, you will travel from New York to Los Angeles, everybody uses the same currency.
But that's one country.
Yes.
So of course it's going to be the same currency. That's one country.
Well, Africa is
is 54 countries.
No, it's 54 states.
Well, once it's united, if that ever happens, then they could look at the one currency, do the one currency.
We should be optimistic about
you know
the
what?
unity.
I want the unity to happen. I do. However, we see that there are other outside forces that it's not in their best interest for the unity to happen, and will sometimes do the things that they find necessary to make sure the unity doesn't happen. So that's the caution that I take in knowing that reality. Because I mean, my work over the last few years has been about connecting the diaspora to Africa, coming to the continent, investing in the continent. You know, if you can't live here, maybe partner with somebody, you know, do business here, travel here, because if you travel here, your money also helps the tourism industry, which then in turn helps the people. Because sometimes I've heard the diaspora, especially from the U.S. I've heard a lot, because I've been around a lot of people from the diaspora with my work the last few years, and this sentiment usually comes from the American diaspora, where there is a sentiment that Africa only wants their money. But the reality is, if you go on vacation, let's say, and you go to Paris, nobody's complaining saying Paris only wants our money, you know, because they're also trying to vie for tourism dollars too. Why not spend your tourism dollars in a country where you're also supporting Black African people who can also use the money in their business, you know? And any money you spend, there's this misconception, because I know all the numbers always go out about how many billions Ghana made because of year of return and beyond the return. But the reality is the money that's quoted in all these, you know, articles and stuff is actually a combination of what people have spent. So it's the average amount of money each person spends when they come to the country, and it's all calculated together. So like if someone came and they spent $4,000 while they were in Ghana for a month or something, or 2 months, that money is included in the calculation. And that money they've spent has gone to hotels, it's gone to taxi drivers, Uber drivers, restaurants. Maybe you hired a driver, it's gone to the seamstress you might have hired to make you clothes, the shop you spent money at. So it's like all the money you've put in to the system is all what's contributed to the economy, you know? So why not invest that in coming to an African nation, you know? That's just my thought.
And if you live here to the, if you like to relocate too, that's even better, right?
Yeah, relocation takes a lot of planning. Have you started planning? Because one of the things that I noticed, there's a few things I noticed for those of you watching. So there's the people who lived in Ghana, they grew up in Ghana, and then after they finished high school, secondary school, they left for university, they've been living abroad for all those years within their mind, I'm gonna go back home and retire. Then you have the people who were born abroad, never came, then they come for a visit, and they're like, they get a taste of it. They're like, oh, I think I want to come back. And then you have people who are completely disconnected. They don't know anything about the continent. They have no family connection at all, and then they decide to come. So you have all these people have different experiences. And then myself, I mean, I was born here, but we left when I was so young, I don't remember it from that age that we left. I was 2. Yeah. So one of the things I noticed that's very interesting to me is that the people who never grew up here seem to adjust better than the people who grew up here and left after they finished secondary school and lived there for most of their life and come back. Because I hear some of the people in my parents' peer group, I'm not saying my parents' friends, but people in that age demographic, that I hear them speaking about Ghana and some of the frustrations that they have. And it's like, because now you're coming into a system and you're frustrated as a senior who is retired, and you don't have the energy to fight some of the challenges. Whereas the younger people who come maybe in their 30s, 40s, they're frustrated, but they're able to kind of push through it. Because they're like, I made this decision. I have to make it happen.
Yes.
I have to make it happen. Whereas the retiree's like, this is frustrating, but I'm getting my retirement money, so let me just relax. So are you planning? Have you planned? What's the plan? Do you have a home you've built already? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's all in the works.
Okay.
Yes, it's necessary. But the first thing, I think I wrote an article some years ago that's even found on Ghana Web about 20 years ago that Ghana needs to build industrial parks. So I think we should have businesses first. We should have residence is okay, but there's the need to build industries, to hire the people and also sustain us.
Okay. I mean, you've got a business, so
Yes.
and you're planning to build a factory.
Yes.
So that's something that you'll be doing.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to actually, I know that we've been talking about what you've been doing and your products and everything, but there's something that I always want to talk about with people who are like in my parents' generation, the elders and stuff. I mean, how old were you when independence happened in Ghana?
That was in 57. No, I was about 54, about 3 years.
So you were very young, so you won't remember.
I do remember.
Tell me what you remember.
I remember we were living in Asante Mampong, with DC Akosa, who is a prominent CPP member. And I remember the agitation, we used to see people in trucks, shouting, singing those, chanting those war songs.
War songs?
Yes, because there was a fight between the CPP and then the UP.
Okay.
So
and the CPP was Kwame Nkrumah's party.
Yes.
The UP was?
Busia's party.
Okay. Just explaining for people who don't know, that's why I'm clarifying.
Okay.
So Kwame Nkrumah won the election in 1957.
Yes.
And became prime minister at that time.
No, he first won the election in 1951.
To become prime minister?
No,
or to become head of the CPP party?
No, they made him a leader of government business.
Okay, leader of government business. Okay.
So it was a role like a prime minister.
Okay.
And then from there, the governor at that time, handed over government business to. So he ran parliament, up to, and was agitating for independence, which he got in 1957. I think there were a series of elections, and all of those times he won overwhelmingly.
And so, what do you remember about what Ghana was like under his rule before he was overthrown?
As much as I remember, we never heard of the word unemployment. I think most people were employed. Even if you didn't have a job, you would go to the Workers' Brigade and get a job.
Workers' Brigade?
Brigade, yes.
What was the Workers' Brigade?
The Workers' Brigade they were planting food.
Okay.
That's what Akufo-Addo made, planting for jobs, and that's the Workers' Brigade.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
He was a member of the CPP, Akufo-Addo. Yeah.
His father?
Himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before he went to NPP?
Yeah, before he went to the UP.
Okay.
So at that time, I mean, I would say the population was about 7 million, and things were much organized. But my father worked with the State Farms Corporation, so we never lived in the city. You know, we lived in the plantations,
Okay.
and I think it was the best part of my life. Yes.
What made it the best?
Well, we used to, you know, we used to walk barefoot to school, from the plantation to the school. And on weekends, on Saturdays, we just go into the plantation and we pluck oranges. We ate oranges, we ate banana, you know, right from the bush.
So everything was fresh.
Fresh, and we would pluck mushrooms and come and cook it.
So you enjoyed that.
I'm going back to that.
You're going to come back and live in the farm.
Yes,
Everything fresh.
yes.
That's nice.
And in fact, my father, he was the general manager in charge of the whole Ghana, State Farms. And I remember we were traveling, and he said he wrote Operation Feed Yourself.
Operation Feed Yourself.
Yes.
What was Operation Feed Yourself?
Operation Feed Yourself was a program that was adapted and promoted by General Champoin in 1972.
Okay.
So people planted, everybody in their backyard had a farm.
Everybody had a farm in their backyard?
A garden.
People don't do that anymore. Everybody has concrete now.
Yes, because
At least in Accra.
it was a cry, it was a call for everybody to feed themselves. But my father told me he wrote that program. I sent it to the customer.
Your dad wrote that program?
Yes. He told me.
Wow. And so what happened to the program? Why aren't people doing it anymore? Why isn't there Operation Feed Yourself anymore?
Well, you know, in those days when we were growing up, rice was not a staple food. You know, we used to eat plantain, yam, cocoa yam.
And now rice
corn.
has taken over.
Yes. The rice that was eaten was mostly from the north. It was the red.
The brown and red rice?
Yes.
Yeah, that's brown and red rice. It grows in northern Ghana.
Yeah.
And it's good for you, but people don't patronize it.
Yes, but now people have seen it as a business and it's important. So it's become a staple food, you know, a big business.
Okay, that's good. Do you remember when Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown?
Yes, yes.
I want to hear your perspective of what happened.
Well, at that time, my father was, we were going to be transferred to Accra. I think we were supposed to leave on Tuesday, and the coup happened on Thursday. We had packed our boxes. I think my father was going to be, he was a staunch CPP, so he was going to be Minister of Agriculture.
Your dad was going to be Minister of Agriculture?
Yes. And then Nkrumah was overthrown. And it set the whole Africa back about 50 years. I'm sure if Nkrumah had not been overthrown, you know, nobody would have ventured to go to anywhere out of the country.
What were the ramifications that you saw after he was overthrown?
Well,
because I see videos of people like they were jubilating and happy that he was overthrown.
It was all
I don't
propaganda.
think they really understood.
It was all propaganda, you know, because I remember when he was overthrown, we were told to burn all his books. And my father had a library of his books.
What did he do?
Huh?
Did your father keep the books?
No, we were told to burn it.
So the books, so your father also burnt the books?
My father didn't burn it. We burnt it.
You did?
Yes.
You and like the
My
community?
My siblings. You know, we were living in the bungalow. So everybody, the whole country, all over, and a week after they told us, hey, preserve the books. At that time it was too
Already
late.
burnt?
Yes.
That's so crazy.
Yes. And so when I went to New York, that was one of the first things I did. And I went searching the bookstores, and I gathered all the books and most of the books and read them. So I became an agent for Panaf Books, you know, selling it in the U.S.
From burning them to selling them.
Yes.
It's
And I have a feeling that Nkrumah's books should be introduced to the schools,
I
right
agree.
from primary.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
They should be published all over. In fact, you know, I talk to the Samia
Mm-hmm.
most of the time, you know, trying to see if, and I think she published one book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For those
yeah.
who don't know, Samia is the daughter of Kwame Nkrumah, Samia Nkrumah. Yeah, she published the book.
Yeah, Dark Days in
I
Ghana.
bought the book and I can't even find where I put it now.
Yeah, you cannot find it. People love to take it and read it.
No, I know I bought a book from her, and now you said it. I'm like, where did I put that book?
Yeah, so I think she's working on publishing all the books over here.
She has to. Yeah, yeah. I'm actually trying to get an interview with her on the show as well. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, I've been trying to get in touch, but haven't been able to get it since I came. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you said you felt that it set the continent back 50 years.
Yes, or more.
What do you think we need to do to move forward? Because we're still behind.
Yeah, well,
In a lot of ways.
I'm saying the free trade agreement is the next big thing after the formation of the Organization of African Unity. We have to embrace it, you know, kick down the borders, establish one currency and trade among ourselves, and also give up sovereignty. We must, you know, and be governed by the African Union, you know, select one leader. Every person that calls himself a president of a state should be a governor.
Interesting.
Yes.
That's using American political system, though, to
Yes.
talk about governors and stuff.
Yes.
Shouldn't Africans
They
create their
play
own?
the same role.
I guess. I mean,
But the luxury of owning jets and flying as a president, you know, has kept everybody
yeah,
from giving up their sovereignty.
yeah. I know that the president recently, President Mahama recently announced that leaders are no longer allowed to do first class, ministers, no more first class flights. It has to be economy and only if absolutely needed, the reducing travel. I mean, they could all do it across the continent, right? To reduce
Yes.
the money spent. Because some countries I've seen some of the elaborate things, it's too much.
And I'm saying if all the African leaders give up their aircraft, they can form an airline with that. That can even do inter-African flights. You know, but I saw the other day Senegal, you know, big aircraft. And I'm asking, how often does he use this aircraft? It's sitting down. We need to increase inter-African travel. If I want to go to Angola, I'll have to go to Portugal to be able, Europe to come to Africa. You know, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. Or some people have told me that they'll have to fly to Kenya in order to come back to a country that they could have just gone straight to. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to.
And we also need airlines that will take us to the Caribbean because we have Caribbean people who can come to Ghana visa-free, but they have to fly through the U.S. or fly through the U.K., for which they have to apply for a transit visa, which can also deter them in being able to come if it was a direct flight. Yeah, so we definitely need that in connecting all of the diaspora with the continent.
And we also need to form a cargo airline.
Cargo shipping company or cargo airline?
Airlines. And also, you know, Nkrumah had this Black Star line that was about 16 ships that was plying between even Ghana, Europe, and the U.S.
Was that with Marcus Garvey?
Yes, the idea was from Marcus Garvey.
Yeah.
Right now, if I make a product and I'm shipping to Lagos by sea, which is it's going to be difficult. It probably have to go to Hamburg or somewhere before transshipment before it comes back. So we need to have shipping airlines that can go around the coast of Africa. Drop off cargo. Also increase tourism.
Definitely, I agree, because along the coast there, just to get to Nigeria, yeah, Togo, Benin, Nigeria, yeah. You have a website for the product, it's Krismark.
Krismark.com.
People can order directly from there or
Yes.
preferred from Walmart.
Walmart is even better
Why is it even better?
because I want to focus more on manufacturing and production.
Okay.
And then ship it to Walmart fulfillment center. They will fulfill all the orders.
Okay, all right. So, any last thoughts that you have that you want to share with the audience?
Let us patronize made in Ghana products.
Made in Ghana,
Yes.
or made in Africa in general.
Yes, they are very rich. Golden tree. And I've seen other locally manufactured chocolates which are fantastic. I had one Diba, which had plantain chips in it. And guess what? The other day when I was going back to United States and I saw that the chips and the cookies in business class, they were all made in Ghana, and I felt so proud.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, so let's encourage entrepreneurship and let's stop destroying our rivers and forests.
Stop destroying our rivers and forests.
Yes.
100%. Yeah. We have to care about where we live. Yeah.
Very, very concerned because if you go to the United States, every city, big city has a river flowing through. So they said the rivers bring life. So why are we destroying our rivers?
Lack of understanding.
Yes, it's
and poverty mindset.
Yeah, I think it's a corporate greed.
Yeah, corporate greed plays into it, but there's also poverty mindset because the people on the ground digging are the poor.
Yes.
Who are looking at it as, I just have to dig this and get this amount of money. And that mindset helps to fuel the corporate entities, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
That's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we should preserve our green forests and rivers. They are essential to our lives.
There's no thought of the next generation. It's just now. I want this money now. There's no thought that what I'm doing now is affecting and harming the next generation. Because some of the water bodies in some communities are destroyed with the illegal gold mining here in Ghana, which is called galamsey. So that mind of, because I actually overheard somebody saying, if he can make 3,000 cities going and digging this, why wouldn't he? Because he needs to make money. And it's like, he's not thinking about the fact that all the water in that community is now destroyed. What are you using to plant the things in the neighborhood now? You don't have clean water, So now you have to spend money to buy sachet water to water your plants, or use the dirty water to water the plants, and then the food is not healthy because now it's filled with chemical water.
Yes.
Yeah. So, well, great final thoughts that you shared. Appreciate it. Thank you for spending the time today and talking about what you've done and leading the way in Shea beauty products in the US and beyond.
And I have to also commend you for the role you played in the year of return.
Thank you.
Yes, I think you did. You played a significant role, and
Thank you.
You deserve commendation.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. For those watching who don't know, the Year of Return, I was part of the Year of Return Secretariat, doing social media, content creation. and other things. All right. Thank you so much for this time today. I really appreciate it. It's been a really good conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope we'll do it again.
Oh, I mean, when you come back to Ghana,
Okay.
sure. Why not? Why
Okay.
not? Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. I appreciate you, and I will see you next time.